Hello, friends. I hope you're out wandering through nature, exploring the natural world around you. Do you enjoy writing about your wanderings? Nature journaling is an awesome, fun way to remember all the adventures you have taken and how you felt during those journeys. If you're looking for some beautiful journals to keep track of all your wanderings, I have several available on Amazon, including some guided journals for children. Start your journey in journaling by clicking on the link in the show notes. Keep exploring the nature around you and keep journaling all your wanderings. Oh, hello friends, I'm Paul, and this is the Nature Wanderer Podcast. Good to have you along, wandering through nature with me. And today I'm in the wilds of my own backyard again. I'm always talking about how nature is all around us. And I'm encouraging everyone to always get out in nature. And a lot of people think, well, I don't have time to go all the way to the park, and I don't have time to go all the way to the nature preserve. Or nature is all around us. It's in your own backyard. I don't care where you live. I don't care if you live in a city. I don't care if you live in a village, a town. A little bit windy out here, so I'll apologize for the wind noise. I'll try to block it. It's just an occasional breeze here and there. But anyhow, I don't care where you live, you've got nature. Okay, nature can be in the middle of a city. I've led nature hikes in the middle of a city, a large city, and we have found birds, we have found plants, we have found all sorts of things. So I came into my backyard for this topic because I want you to understand it's everywhere. You don't have to go off to some nature preserve to explore and discover nature. It's right in your own backyard. It's all around us. So today I want to talk about nature journaling. I've mentioned it before in podcasts. I've talked about how I have created some nature journals that you can purchase. The links are in the show notes. But today I want to explain a little bit about what nature journaling is. Maybe you don't understand nature journaling. Have you ever had a diary? Have you ever kept a journal, a general journal? I know some people like to just write down in the journal their thoughts, what they did during the day, how their day went. Sometimes it's good to relieve stress, to get things out that have been bothering you. Put it down on paper. There is a podcast that I listened to. I kind of like this one podcast, and actually there's a couple of them that are on the same topic, and it's basically on it's kind of like self-healing, taking care of yourself. And these podcasts, I listen to some meditation podcasts as well, and not always just for the meditation part, but the one podcast I listened to she talks about, what the benefits are of meditation. How do you live your life so that meditation will actually help you? And so when you're out there keeping a journal, sometimes it will help with your self-care, your mental self-care, your physical self-care even. And this one podcast I was listening to the other day, anyhow, I got a little sidetracked there, I apologize. The one podcast I was listening to, she was talking about her full moon rituals, because the full moon's coming up. And she was talking about how one of the things that she does for her full moon ritual, and I've read this before with other people, full moon rituals, is when there's a full moon, you write down all the things that have been really bothering you. It's been in your head. It's been, just causing you stress, anxiety, And you write all those things down on a piece of paper. Maybe there's someone in your life who has really been getting under your skin, and you don't want to tell them to get lost, but you're tired of avoiding them all the time, and you used to be good friends or something. I don't know what the situation could be, but that sort of thing. You write it down on a piece of paper that's been bothering you, and then during the full moon, you take that piece of paper and you burn it. So it's almost like you're freeing yourself. Part of the therapy, the non psychic, I guess you could say, therapy if you don't believe in that stuff, is just getting it out, getting it on a piece of paper, getting those feelings down. And then burning it actually makes it feel like it's gone. I don't need that anymore. I burn those feelings. I burn that stuff. So journaling is a great way to do this. I know of people who journal every day, get their feelings down on paper. With nature journaling, it's kind of the same thing. Where you're experiencing nature and you're writing down your experiences. I got a chickadee calling me, chickadee-dee-dee. I don't know if you can hear that, but so as you're wandering through nature, you can actually stop every once in a while and just take it all in. Now, I am a strong believer when I am teaching people about nature, when I'm out hiking, when I'm out there with people in nature and trying to show them nature, I am always stressing, use all your senses, every sense you have. I'm very cautious about some of them, like sense of taste. You don't want to be eating stuff that you don't know what it is. If you know you have some raspberry bushes and you want to eat the raspberry, that's great. You're experiencing those raspberries the way they should be experienced. Use your sense of smell, though, your sense of touch, your hearing, your sight. Oh, yeah, it's winter is finally losing its grasp here. It's starting to get warmer, and we're starting to get into the spring, and I can just smell it out here, and I can feel it, the sun's rays beating down on me. The clouds are moving in today, but right now I can feel that sunshine coming down and beating on me, and it feels so good. It's like I'm grabbing and absorbing that energy from the sun. And these are all things that I'm experiencing, but do I remember them? Yeah, I can remember times when, at certain hikes that I've taken and what I enjoyed about that hike, whether it was a beautiful scene that I was seeing, or maybe it was, the way it smelled. As I come into my yard every once in a while, it's like, oh, that smells really good. And I remember that. And so every time I go past that area along my trail in my yard, I think about that smell, and it's like, is it still here? So, these things will stick with you sometimes, but other times it's like, no, they don't. You have so much you're absorbing. It's like, how much of it are you actually taking in and keeping in your mind and remembering it? I find as I'm getting up there in years, I don't remember everything all the time. So why not write it down? Write those things down. And that's what nature journaling is all about. Like I said, I know people who journal their day. Well, why not journal your experiences with nature? Journal your hike. What did you enjoy about the hike today? Maybe you went to a nature center and you saw all their exhibits. What did you experience there? What did you experience sitting outside? I actually taught a nature journaling course down at the Chautauqua Institute in Chautauqua, New York, down by Lake Chautauqua, and it was quite the experience. It was the first time I'd taught a course in this, and everyone enjoyed it. Everyone loved it, all my students. And I think I learned just as much as they did, because they were just getting so immersed in nature. I mean, I did a short, half an hour session indoors, teaching them about how to use their senses, talking to them about it, and then we got right out into the outdoors, and we went to a couple of different places, and we just stopped, which is what I'm going to do right now, because I'm at the back of my property. I'm just going to stop and just kind of take it all in. And I've got a bird flying overhead. Oh, and by the way, you can do nature journaling vocally too. Most people write it down, or I've got friends who will do it on their computer all the time. They'll do their daily journaling or their nature journaling on their computer. I have a written nature journal, and I do that because I like to draw too. I'm not an artist, not on paper anyhow. I do wire art, wire sculpting, but on paper, no. Stick figures, and I can do a little bit of artistic, drawing, but my brother got all the really good drawing artistry in my family, and he does a great job. But me, I just sketch, but that's all right. I'm drawing things like, the wind coming through and rustling in the trees, and you're probably thinking, how do I draw the wind? Well, remember all those old kids' books that you used to read, all the little ones with the illustrations, and they're showing someone on a windy day, and they draw the lines with the swirl in them, to show that it's a big wind. And just from looking at that, you can tell it was windy. And if you can't just do it in pictures, do it in words. Describe the wind. Describe what you're smelling. Like I said, I saw a couple of crows go overhead. I'll probably journal when I get back. I didn't bring my journal with me, but when I get back up to my house, I'll probably sit down for a short while and just write it all down. And that's one way of doing it. Another way to nature journal is to do it right on the spot. A lot of times I'll just bring my journal with me and I'll write the things down, or I'll draw pictures, and I just take in everything and just get it down on paper. So like today, I'd talk about the chickadees I heard, and I'm still hearing, how I'm feeling about the spring, what I'm smelling. Oh, it's just such fresh, clean air here. It's great to be outdoors. The sun, which is starting to fade behind the clouds. We're supposed to get some rain tonight and tomorrow. I'll talk about my crazy dogs that I have with me right now. That's who's tromping through the dried grasses. But yeah, I'll talk about how they reacted to it. Maybe the snow, touch the snow. How does it feel? I'll write that down. I'm seeing the hills in the distance, covered in little patches of snow here and there. The one hill has a lot of green grass on it right now, just a little bit of snow. So like I said, winter is losing its grip. We're getting into spring here. So all of this is what I'm feeling. Now, a big question that I get a lot with nature journaling is, how do I know I'm done? How do I know how to do the journal? Should I draw pictures? Should I write? Should I do... Hey, you know what the answer is? I don't know. Whatever you want. Yeah, I know. I taught this at the Chautauqua Institute, an entire 4-day course on it. But it's so different with everyone. This is one of the things I teach. Journaling is about you. It's about your expressions. Yeah, I do sell journals online and on Amazon. Most of it is just blank pages and lined pages that you can draw pictures on the blank pages. You can write on the lined pages. But who cares? Who cares what you put on those pages? You want to write on the unlined pages? Go right ahead. You want to draw on the lined pages? That's fine too. This is you. This is your expression. Maybe you're not good at writing. Doesn't matter. Who's going to see it? I'm not showing my journal to anyone. Well, unless I'm teaching a class, then I usually do. But I usually don't show my journal to anyone. I remember when I took a class back in college, and it was actually after college, believe it or not. But I went back to this university because I saw this class that they were teaching. I thought, what a great class. It's just outdoor ecology. Maybe they can teach me a little bit more about, the natural world. And even though I felt, I'm pretty experienced, it's like, well, this is a friend of mine, a good teacher. It's like, yeah, let's take his class. And I did. And after every class, we would actually journal. And he would have us take our journals along with us on the hikes we took. And we would write down and draw and do what we wanted. And then at the end of the course, we handed in our journal to him. That's the only time anyone ever saw a journal of mine, other than when I teach it myself, nature journaling. But you get graded on the journal. Everyone got high grades, mostly because this is about you. Did you get the information? Or were you drawing pictures of your cell phone and, what you're going to have for dinner and all that while you're supposed to be learning about nature? Then you didn't get a good grade, but most everyone got a really good grade on this. And it's all because the journal is about you, about what you experienced, about what you learned. My dog is my German Shepherd, laying down in the snow on the trail, and he's licking the snow up. He loves snow. I don't know why, but he loves it. This could probably go in my journal, about how he felt about this. This hike we had. Oh, now the snow, he just got up and the snow is all brown. Yeah, he's been running through the muddy muck. But that's my answer to you if you ask, is this okay? What about this journal? When I was done with this journaling class down at Chautauqua Institute, after I taught the course, I didn't collect the journals. I asked the students, do you want to share some of your, what you're journaling? And they usually said, no. I had one girl who she was willing to, and she talked a little bit about it. But it was mostly me. I was talking about what I had experienced in each one of the spots that we stopped at. And I remember a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, he was a professional artist. I met him when I worked at a nature center, and he was one of the docents at this nature center, one of the tour leaders. And I got to know him real well. He was an artist. I saw him a lot at different art shows. And he had the most beautiful paintings, of course, of nature. But the one day I was talking to him about nature journaling, and he says, oh, let me show you my journal. It's like, okay. I looked at his journal, and it was just so beautiful, all the sketches in it. But he also had some words in there. And like a whole page would be filled with pictures of birds. And you could just look at that picture and see, well, I shouldn't even say see, feel what he was feeling. Because he drew the wind, he drew the weather, he drew his feelings. Maybe there was a little heart in the corner. And you knew it's like, oh, he loved this day. And that's what nature journaling is all about. It's about your experiences. So here's what I recommend. Get yourself a journal. It doesn't have to be one of my journals. Love it if you would support the podcast by buying one of my journals, but it doesn't have to be. Get a journal, notebook, whatever. You can even make your own journals. Go out in nature, in your backyard, at a nature center, a nature preserve, a national park, wherever. But I recommend doing this the first time at least in a nice, quiet, peaceful, undisturbed location so that you can just absorb everything, absorb nature, take it all in, and then just sit there. Don't start writing right away. Just sit there and take it in. Start feeling the energy of the woods maybe, listening to the trees creaking together, the wind rustling through the leaves, feel the warmth of the sun or the coolness of the woods. Get the temperature. Go up to a tree, touch it. See what the bark feels like. Maybe there's a dead leaf on the ground. Pick that up and feel. Feel the soil. Touch the grasses, the moss. Touch all these things. Be careful when you touch stuff. Make sure that it's not hazardous. If you're unsure, don't touch it. That's my thought. If you see a raspberry, go ahead and eat it. Don't eat other berries unless you know what they are. You're positive, 100% positive. You don't need to use the whole taste thing. But what I'm trying to get at is, smell. Feel it all. Take it all in. All your senses. And then start writing. Start drawing. Just put down on paper. It doesn't matter if you fill up a page. It doesn't matter if you fill up 10 pages. All in one spot. And after you've absorbed it and you've gotten it down on paper, your feelings and all, then go to another spot. Walk up the trail a little further. Go to another part of your yard. And then take it all in there and do the same thing. Start writing it down. And then take a break. Take more in. Write that down. And then just keep doing that. And then afterwards, after your journaling is done or you feel it's done, I'm not going to tell you when it's done. That's you. This is your journal. So after you feel that it's all done and you're ready to move on, then move on. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you just want to enjoy this. I'm listening to some of the birds in the woods right now. Sounds like they're yelling at each other. So they're having a discussion about this crazy guy talking to himself, but with these two crazy dogs with him. Yeah, so they're yelling at us. Anyhow, it's just sit there, stay there if you want. Take even more in. Doesn't even have to be journaled. Just enjoy it. Get out and explore nature. Now, take kids with you. Bring the kids with you, your children, maybe bring, a friend with you, and have them join you in journaling. Now, with kids, it's a little bit tough. They're not always willing to sit there and just take in nature and absorb nature. Now, a lot of times they just want to touch everything, see everything, which is great. That's what I love. I love when kids are out in nature and they start exploring stuff. Oh, there's a feather on the ground. They pick it up. Remember the 7 principles of leave no trace. Don't take that feather home. But yeah, pick it up, touch it, see what it feels like, see what it smells like maybe. Don't put it in your mouth, please. And let your kids explore it firsthand. Actually absorb nature, just like you did. And then have them write stuff down. Draw pictures. I love when kids are drawing pictures about nature. Absolutely love it. And that's their way of nature journaling. Does it have to look like yours? No. Does it have to be beautiful pictures? No, it doesn't. It's their journal. If they only want to show it to you, don't make them. No. Maybe they want to keep it to themselves. So this is great for kids too. Now, if you take kids out into nature to do some nature journaling, I find sometimes it's good to guide them. I have some kids' nature journals, young adults, young people's nature journals that I have on my Amazon. I'll leave that in the links if you want to get some of these. I have 4 different ones about exploring different things. And these are guided journals for the kids. For instance, exploring at night. And I talk about how to set up an insect sheet and with a light on it to attract the insects. So I'm kind of guiding them along. Here's how you can experience nature better. Stand up on top of a hill and look down. Maybe you want to have them lay down on their back and look up at the trees in the forest from a different perspective. So looking at nature in a different way, different view. Kids love that. So sometimes, like I said, they need to be guided on these journals. Makes it a little more fun for them. It's almost like a treasure hunt, a fun little thing to do. But guide them along the way, help them along the way, but don't critique their artwork, don't critique what they're putting down. You know, this is their journal. Let them enjoy experiencing nature just like you experience nature and you enjoy journaling. So those are the recommendations I have if you're taking a youngster, a child, a grandchild into nature to explore. So give them a little guidance, but once again, just like I was doing with you, doesn't matter what they write in there, it doesn't matter what they draw, you know, just let them do it. They want to use a crayon, awesome, let them use a crayon. They want to use colored pencils, great. If they just want to do line drawings with a regular pencil, that's wonderful too. I mean, the only problem with nature journaling with crayons is you got to take all those crayons with you. But hey, why not? Make a fun little pack, journaling pack. So that's what nature journaling is all about. It's about exploring nature and experiencing it as a whole, and then writing it down in your journal so that you can remember these. Now, one last point before I wrap up here about nature journaling, and that's what to do with your journal. That, once again, very personal, up to you. If you want to take your journal and you want to share it with others, that's great. If you want to keep it private, that's fine too. Keep it locked up or in a safe place in your office that no one can find it. So what you do with your journal is totally up to you, and that includes what you do with you viewing it. I know I like to go back in my journal every once in a while, and I'll just flip through the pages and maybe stop at one page, read through it, look at the pictures, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that place. I remember going there. It's like, wow, I haven't been there since this date. Wow, that's been a while. I should head back over there. So it actually encourages me to get back out into an area that maybe I haven't discovered in a while. Or maybe it's my own backyard that I stopped at that page, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that. I wonder if those are still there. And I'll actually go back to that spot and I'll see, it's like, oh yeah. And it's also kind of interesting to look and see if, you know, maybe you saw it differently that day. So if you go to the same area, maybe you're seeing it differently. And I always like to look through my journals and see the progress. You know, the progress of how I journal, progress of my artistic stick figure ability of drawing. You know, I have seen that my drawings have gotten better over the years. I have seen that my writings have gotten better over the years. So, you know, that's what it's all about, is experiencing it. And if you want to just do it the one time and never look at your journals again, that's fine too. Like I said, personal experience, totally yours. But I enjoy looking back at the journals and kind of reminiscing. It's almost like looking at old photo albums, which that's something I hardly ever do. But every once in a while, I used to put together these, bless you, that was Rivia. She'd keep her nose out of the grass all the time. She wouldn't be sneezing. But anyhow, so I used to, when I went on vacation, we would take all our pictures, not all of them, but our top highlights, I guess you could say, and I would put them into a book. So they have these different places online where you can put together books with pictures, and that's what I would do. I'd do a vacation book. Every once in a while I'll dig one of those books out and I'll take a look at it and see, you know, I remember that vacation and the good times we had on it. And So it's fun to put together, and it's also fun to look at every once in a while. And that's kind of like journaling. That's what I like to do with journaling too, is I like to look back on the journals every once in a while. So that is nature journaling. That's about all I've got to say about it. I know I'm sticking all this into a half an hour. When I taught it, it was like a 2 or 3 hour session each day for 4 days. But we were getting more in depth with it, and we were experiencing it too, where we'd just sit there for an hour at a point and just journal. And I would, ask people, it's like, oh, did you feel the wind? Did you put down, the sounds you heard? How many birds did you hear? What did you, And after that, I found that most of them were, going back to the journal and writing more. Because it's like, oh yeah, I missed that. So anyhow, I encourage you, get a journal if you don't already. There's plenty of just blank, simple ones online that you can buy, or you can make your own, or just, go to the local store and buy a notebook, decorate the front of it yourself, however you want to do it. Get a journal, start writing things down, try it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. And start sharing it with friends, not your journal unless you want to, but your experience of journaling, so that maybe they'll want to start journaling as well. Oh, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned a lot about journaling. If you did, please rate and review the episode. Don't forget to send me a DM or text message or whatever if you have any ideas on future episodes, or if you have any questions about anything to do with nature. And I will try to get back to you as quick as possible to answer your questions. Or if you'd like to join me on one of my wanderings through nature, you feel free to let me know, and I'll let you know when I'm out recording another podcast, and you can come along and join me. You don't have to be part of the podcast if you don't want to. You can just enjoy the hike, or you can actually participate in the podcast as well. So let me know your thoughts, your feelings, and don't forget to support the podcast, Nature Wanderer, by going to my Ko-Fi page, links in the show notes. And if you want to get a journal from me, links are in the show notes for that as well. So keep wandering through nature, keep journaling in nature, and above all, keep exploring the nature around you. Did you know that plastic is made with oil, a fossil fuel that pollutes the environment? And did you know that only about 15% of all plastic is recycled into new products? Wouldn't it be awesome if we could live our lives without plastic so that we could stop harming the planet? Well, there's a company that wants to help you do just that. Life Without Plastic sells products that will reduce or eliminate your dependence on plastic. They have a large selection from toothbrushes to food storage containers to drinking straws, all plastic free. And it's reasonably priced. So what are you waiting for? Check out all these great plastic-free products and help save the planet. Just click on the link in the show notes to find out more and to start your journey to being plastic-free.